This is John Dodds. He is a director for Raise the Wage PA, which is located in Center City, Philadelphia. Raise the Wage is an assemblage of community, labor, faith-based, and other organizations fighting for an increase in the Pennsylvania minimum wage.
Well, the minimum wage is the floor under wages, and it's which keeps wages up in the particularly the bottom of the labor market. So we have people with lesser skills doing a lot of service jobs and so forth. With the low minimum wage, it allows employers to keep the wages down. So as long as we keep a minimum wage at a very low level, a lot of people are making less than they would or what they should make for what they do. And so it's just really important that you push that wage up to a decent level so that people can't be exploited. Well, we have the lowest possible minimum wage in the country. There's 29 states in the District of Columbia have raised their minimum wage. Every state around us has raised it. We're still at 7.25, so we are not helping our basic working people to stay ahead of inflation. In fact, we've lost a tremendous amount of the value of the minimum wage over the past 10 years. Well, I'm sort of involved in a lot of strategy, supervision of people, sort of writing and sort of studying the issues and helping to sort of create a platform or what it is that we're trying to do, working with other groups. The organization more broadly does a lot of work to help people find jobs, to help people that are facing foreclosures, prevent them from loss of their houses, people with problems with their real estate taxes and things like that, their unemployment benefits. So we have a lot of direct service that we help people, and then we do the organizing where we try to make change, broader change for everybody.
The minimum wage issue is as much an economic one as it is a political one.
Well, we have been organizing in 10 or 12 cities around the state. One of the problems in Pennsylvania is that places like Philadelphia, where we are all pretty much Democratic and support, our legislators support raising the minimum wage. The problem is upstate, there's a lot of legislators that don't support it, even though there's tremendous numbers of low-wage workers. So we've been organizing people around the state, and that's been very important. We've had a number of days of action where we've had 10, 12, 13 cities turn out to do events, get publicity. The problem basically is very simple. The Republican Party controls both houses of the legislature. The leadership has made it plain that they're not going to move the bill. So what they do is, rather than have a vote and see what people do, they don't allow a vote. So it's been 10 years since the last time the state legislature voted on minimum wage. They keep the bills blockaded in committee. We've done a lot of work putting pressure on the committee chairs. Unfortunately, their districts are safe Republican districts, and they're able to just hold out. But really what it is, it's the Republican leadership has made a commitment to not have a vote. We're quite clear that if they did have a vote, it would pass, because 74% of the population supports $10 an hour minimum wage. I mean, 3 out of 4 people. So these politicians are not silly enough to vote against that if it comes up. So rather than vote to do something that would be maybe against the interests of their business base, they don't allow a vote. It's a myth that everybody is making our teenagers working, buy sneakers and so forth. And the reality is, that tremendous numbers of people are working in service industries, working in janitorial, working in nursing homes, working in retail stores, working in fast food restaurants. I mean, a tremendous number of people work in those kind of industries, and they get paid these low wages, and they're not teenagers. In fact, large numbers of them are raising kids. Most of them are full-time workers. I mean, we're 80% of, what's the number here? It's like 90% of them are not teenagers or above the age of 20. So, it sounds nice. It makes it easy if you're against raising the minimum wage to just say it's a bunch of teenagers, and it's unfortunately, it's not the case. If it were just a bunch of teenagers, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad situation, but it's not. It's way too many people raising kids and trying to support a family, trying to keep a roof over their head. A lot of people can't keep a roof over their head on these wages. They end up working and being in shelters. Over 2 million people in Pennsylvania would get a raise if the minimum wage went to $15, and over 500,000 of them are raising children. And these are people that need more money. And the other thing is, really, if you put that money into people's pockets, they're going to spend it, and they're going to stimulate the economy. And, we're talking like $3 billion of new spending that would go in the Pennsylvania economy if people had more wages. And that is a big plus. I mean, 60 to 70% of the U.S. economy is based on consumer spending. The consumer spend, people make things. They're not going to they're not going to build phones if nobody has any money to buy a phone. They're not going to buy a TV if people can't afford a TV. The more money people have, the more they're going to spend, and the more jobs are going to be created. So while a lot of times they talk about, they're all going to lay these people off, in fact, what's going to happen is if people have more money, they're going to spend it, and they're going to stimulate the economy. So those are some issues I think that are important to think about when you think about minimum wage.